This is the Uncommon Success Podcast. On this show, we love to hear about the journey of success for leaders or individuals, whatever walk of life they may come from, and we want to hear their success stories. So welcome to our community. If you are just joining us for the first time, we're glad that you're here. If you are a regular, we're glad to have you back. Thank you for joining us today. Today's going to be a little bit different. We are going to, for this is episode number 19 of the Uncommon Success Podcast. And as we're closing out our first season, we have a couple more episodes left after this one. We thought it'd be a great opportunity just to highlight one of our Patreon episodes. Just for some of you who may not be Patreon members yet, this may be a great opportunity for you to see some of the behind-the-scenes inner circle discussion that takes place on the Patreon. So we have some fun times behind the scenes. Now this is one today that we're going to show you as this little behind the scenes that I wasn't able to be there for, but did get to see it in post-production and in the inner circle. This is the episode, if you recall, back when Kyle Bickham was on as a guest, and my wife Christy and Brinley were co-hosting, and they had some behind-the-scenes conversation with Kyle. I think it's going to be a fun blessing to you, so I'm going to share this with you today, let you listen in to that Patreon, so you can check that out right now.
Welcome to the Patreon Inner Circle, where you get exclusive content on some awesome discussion. So we have a question coming our way.
Should we start with the story, though? We promised
A story?
the listeners that signed up for Patreon an embarrassing story of Andy.
I think we should.
I think we might get sued if we don't.
All right. What story?
So what
are
you
we...
got, Kyle?
Okay, well, yeah, so Andy's a mountain climber, and when we were roommates, we just decided we were going to go climb Sierra Blanca in New Mexico, which actually, I don't know if you're officially legally allowed to do that.
So hypothetically, y'all may
Hypothetically, this
yeah.
is all made up-ish. Yeah. So Andy decides we're just going to drive through the night, and then first thing in the morning, we're going to start in on the climb. I wouldn't recommend that, you know, from an endurance standpoint. But hey.
Young and wild and crazy.
So we do stop in the middle of the night, in the middle of like nowhere. It has to be somewhere close to like Roswell or something. And so we're, sleep deprived. We've been driving a long time.
So y'all saw aliens.
We so we get out, and Andy Andy goes out into this field, like we're taking turns, taking your business out in the field, whatever.
Okay.
All of a sudden, we just hear this, like, it sounds like somebody laughing out in the field, which is super creepy because you're in the middle of nowhere. We literally just stopped the car in the middle of the road.
Could be a serial killer.
Like, it could be.
I'm
thinking like Jeepers Creepers.
Alien, so.
And then I hear this, like, stomping. And so then we are, like, we get in the car, like, pretty quickly.
It's Bigfoot.
Yeah. Who knows what it is? Well, I do. I think I know what it is. Anyway.
What?
So then we hear this grunting, and then what it sounds like is a bunch of little piglets, and then the mama pig, like a wild pig.
Yeah, boar.
Apparently those are dangerous. Yeah. So it sounds like it just takes off running. So we just slam the doors shut, and right at that time, like a car drives up. We were there for like 30 minutes, and they finally drive up. And it looks a little suspicious, right? Like four dudes just hanging out in the middle of a field. Yeah. Like, what are y'all doing? So the guy, this old farmer. He's in this dually. He rolls the window down. He's like, y'all okay? Y'all doing okay? And we're so spooked that like we just can't talk. So Andy, I've never heard him talk like this. He just rolls the window down and he goes, yeah, I think I'm just a wild boar. It's just a wild boar. Yeah.
When in Rome.
I don't know if I'm doing it justice, but it was the weirdest. I don't know why he said it so weird, but like the guy's face is just like, what are y'all doing? He's like, okay, sure.
Gosh.
He just drives off. I'm like, Andy, that was so creepy. Why did you have to
never hear that story before?
So
well,
the rest
he's lucky
of the trip,
that's all he said.
Just a wild boar. Yeah.
I'm just a wild boar.
Now we know.
Now we know.
Yeah. So if you hear me say it, that's what I'm talking about.
it's good that he didn't say anything else because he's terrible at accents. No matter what he's saying, once he gets more than 3 or 4 words into it, it's like Indian. It could be, he can start out British, he can start out Spanish, he can start whatever, and then it just goes off, and he's very bad at accents. But I guess
Good
he
to
can
know.
do country. He's a wild boy.
Hang on, country.
Wild boy over there.
Wild boar.
All right, let's get
Good
into
one.
this Patreon discussion.
All right.
This is Stephen Posey, the technical director of the Uncommon Success podcast, joined today by our unnamed executive producer. Let's talk about something you talked about, Kyle, on the podcast. We kind of got into entrepreneurship ideas. What do you do with ideas? Kind of a topic of discussion. What do you do with an idea that you have that maybe you're not necessarily going to act on or you're going to go with, but you know it's a great idea and you know you could do something with that idea? What do you take? What do you do with that? Where do you go? That's just open discussion for everybody. What do you do with unused ideas?
Lock them in a deep, dark cave,
Never to emerge.
Sell them on Facebook.
Sell-
never to be found.
I think one thing, and I'll definitely need y'all to jump in, but, spend some time thinking, like Kyle mentioned, those kind of points that you think about, like, to measure, is this something that I should do, that I should do now, that I should do with somebody? Should it ever be done? Kind of go through those questions. Is this something that's needed and valued? And in this region, through, go through all that. But then get it out. Like, talk to somebody. If you're married, talk to your spouse. If you have business partners, talk to your business partners. And then that just helps because then you're bouncing that off of somebody else. So that's just like one of the first steps, I think. It's just kind of get it out of your mind.
Yeah, I agree. Getting it out of your mind is important. Like writing it down. I've got some pretty, I wouldn't call them stupid ideas, but I mean, I wouldn't say them out loud just yet.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's hear your
Just
top
saying
5. Just give us 5
Well-
of the worst ideas, but
No,
best
worst,
ideas.
best. I don't know. Well, okay. Have you seen that show Bounty Hunter?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's not Dog the Bounty Hunter, but there's like a reality TV show where like a professional bounty hunter.
And then take it like into like the preschool world.
Yes. Exactly. Perfect.
Cut that. I officially don't.
We don't condone that.
I thought it would be cool to like buy an island and then like people pay like $10,000 to like, hey, I want this professional bounty hunter to hunt me down for the. If I
That's
get
a
away,
great idea.
after 24 hours, then I win the pot. Like,
Someone
That's
just,
awesome.
someone just stole that on the
Someone
Patreon.
I hope
for
they do.
$7 a month.
I'll be customer number 1.
There you go.
There's a show like that in Korea.
Wait, it's a reality? Well, there's a show. Yeah, there's a show here. That's where I'm saying like all the coolest reality TV shows. Like I want to make them an actual game, and I want to pay to be on it because I don't want to be on Survivor, but I do want to play Survivor.
There you go.
You don't want to win the money.
Ooh.
You want to pay the money.
Man, I'm spitting hot fire.
Yeah, you are. Just keep coming.
So all the ideas, what do you do with them? You write them down. What else? Talk to somebody.
Yeah, I mean sometimes that's as far as it gets.
And sometimes if it's meant to be, it comes back, right? Like
Yeah.
if you write it down and you don't think about it again, then it probably wasn't it.
Yeah, I mean maybe that book idea will become a reality, but at the same time, I'm terrible at like I'll come up with ideas and then because I didn't do the thing that was probably a bad idea, I'll
Yeah.
feel bad about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
dang, I should have done that.
Yeah.
Or somebody else already does it, like did it after you thought about it. That's hard. But you said like one of your strengths is ideation. Some of us here are ideation. So for me, my brain does not turn off. It's like
Yeah.
like blah, like ideas all the time. So I mean, the reality is that some of them are just you can't do them all.
Well, you can start doing your research,
Yeah.
Reach out to those resources or just look some stuff up or just talk to more people and talk to more people and, see if there's anything like it out there or if there's, to kind of gauge, I guess, is this something that I really should do? Is this something that really could be successful? Sometimes it's taking the first step in it, and seeing if it goes anywhere and it might flop and that's okay. scratch it and move on to something else.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think taking a step,
Yeah.
like I want to write a novel. Well, write a paragraph, man. Like,
Right,
talk to
exactly.
me about the characters a little bit. You don't have to. You might decide I don't want to write this novel. That's okay. But take a step and see. You're
Because
exactly
you
right.
won't be able to tell what that's going to become. Because maybe, like students that start college, some think that this is the route that they want to go, so they enroll in a program and they start, and then they discover that they want to go a different route, and maybe they do that 2 or 3 times. You will not get to that third or fourth option unless you start with 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Like, you have to actually take this step, and you might decide something. You might decide not at all, or the idea that you were thinking, but it's just kind of morphed a little bit, or let me hang that up for a little bit and revisit it in 3 years from now, or something like that. So
Well, and when you have ideation, right, you have probably multiple ideas a day sometimes, if not more. So how do you pick the ones that are worth writing down, the ones that are worth throwing away? Like you can't take an action step with 10 ideas a day. So how do you sift through
Yeah,
your reality shows
that's a good point.
and your novels?
Because I have many of them that are obviously they've come to fruition. No, I honestly count a lot on my subconscious for that, and I think meditate that's where setting aside time for mindfulness meditation for me is important. Journaling, but letting my subconscious do the work, and even when I sleep, like if I start dreaming about this idea, I trust my subconscious. I'm not trying to get all hokey. I'm just saying, like, there's a part of my brain that will bring that idea back up to me over and over, and it will become unavoidable. If I know I need to do it, I will know. And that's how it was with the Modern Tot. Was like I was hesitant to do it, but it was a good idea, and it just kept coming up, and not even like superstitious stuff like, oh, it was a sign. Everyone, no, that's not what I mean.
Right.
I just mean like my brain wouldn't let it go. So I think when it keeps coming back, it's at least something to pay attention to.
All right. Now a question from our mysterious executive producer.
People are going to think he doesn't exist. This is just Posey changing voices.
Why do I have to be mysterious?
You made yourself mysterious.
So, in the conversation earlier, we were talking about grit, and you mentioned that you practice jiu-jitsu. When you practice jiu-jitsu, you get comfortable working through problems in incredibly uncomfortable positions. In that realm, I mean, that so much of that applies to everyday life, but particularly into entrepreneurship and business leading and leadership, because leaders and business owners, you have to make really tough decisions in really uncomfortable positions, or sometimes life, whether it's the happenstance of life or, your own doing, you just have to make really tough decisions. Have you ever had any of those experiences that you can think about off the top of your head, or what's the weight of that?
I think making yourself uncomfortable on purpose is and doing that over and over and over. It's like telling your brain and your body, like, hey, I'm still here, baby. Like, I still want to live. I still want to go. Let's go get it. And I mean, I think, before I started jiu-jitsu, I started having panic attacks. I can't imagine why. It's such a weird feeling, though, because your body's actually telling you, like, hey, man, all right, you're dying. And then it's like, oh, my God. Like, you get stuck in this loop. And then doing things like jiu-jitsu and cold plunges and cold showers. I mean, anytime you're sort of short-circuiting your brain saying, I'm so scared of dying, where you're like, no, I am tough. And I can do this. And I'll even breathe. They say this in a lot of disaster preparedness. I kind of am a prepper nerd a little bit, but they say when you're going through an emergency, if you have trained yourself to be uncomfortable, like you were saying, Jess, I mentioned his name.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's all good. My name's Jess.
His name's Jess, everybody.
But
Jeff
only
or Jess
the
or
Patreon members
Jeb?
know.
Jess Reed.
Just the first.
Jess.
So what you're talking about is you revert back to your I guess your least your least level of training. And putting reps in when it's uncomfortable is super valuable.
Yep. And just breathing through something, slowly. And I'll say, like, whispering something that forces you to breathe too. Like, you can do this. You can do this. Like, over and over. And
Andy makes fun of me when we climb mountains. I just say, okay.
I think
with
I remember that
every
we've
step.
climbed.
You guys, we've climbed together.
We've
Yes,
climbed
you've
together. I
heard
think
me.
I was cracking up. Okay. And I was like, well, what's okay?
That's like me telling myself, I'm going to survive. I got this. I'll make it alive.
I remember it was dark when we started. I think we were climbing Massive
Probably.
in Colorado.
Yeah. It was a mountain in Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't remember which
But
one.
it was still dark.
It was Quandary. No.
And every time I was wondering where Christy was, like, well, I don't even have to look back. I know how close she is.
I'm right there.
Okay.
A pep talk.
Oh, she's really
Yes.
close now.
Yes. Yeah, I'm giving myself a pep talk.
I love it.
It works.
Well, as a leader, you have to have a higher threshold of stress. So when you, maybe you can speak to this too, when you're going these ideas and you're making these journeys and it's stressful, what are you doing on a day-to-day? Because again, like, leaders have to handle stressful situations and they have to have a high tolerance for stress.
Yeah, well, there's the day-to-day, there's the quarterly, there's the, semi-annually or whatever that is, and then there's, the annual. I'm a big proponent of having a good physician, no matter what age you are, but I mean, especially if you're dealing with that kind of stress, high cortisol levels, high blood pressure, go to a good doctor, and I mean go to a good doctor quarterly, because just saying, hey, I'm worried about my blood pressure, and him saying, well, I'm not, and here's why. That takes options off the table where you're freeing up mental energy.
Yeah.
That you don't, all right, I don't have to think about that at least for another 90 days. But we'll go get my blood work done then, and maybe I do have, this whatever, condition that I'm Googling at 3 a.m. on WebMD.
Oh, I do that often. Everything is deadly.
Yes, Dr. Google.
But I mean, like, daily, I've got to do a cold shower after a hot shower, of course, but like, I've got to do that. And in that process, I've got to ask, I'll ask a series of questions. What worked? What didn't work? What am I grateful for? And then what's my intention for today? Like, that's it. And because you're right, you got to be sane. And when you've got a lot of noise, regardless of, what that noise is, you need to have your head on straight. And I think just doing some things that free up headspace so that you can suffer on purpose, so that you can be tough. I think that's key.
Yeah, I think kind of generalizing it as have an intentional system. So whatever works for you, it might be different. You might take some of the same pieces, but I know that I need to have a healthy mind and body. I need to have a routine, something that I do, things that I do daily, weekly, monthly, annually, all that kind of stuff. And then maybe I have a list and a schedule of what I tackle. So if there's an immediate fire that needs to be attended to, it's an emergency, I need to handle that now. But there's other things that, this is something that I'm going to do on Tuesdays, or this is something that I do the third week of the month. Here's maybe a issue or a struggle or a tension. I don't have to handle that right now, or I can delegate it to this person. Like, you have a plan. So it's like you were saying, it kind of takes some of the mental thought, mental energy away, because you already have a system and a plan. So you just plug and play. Even when you get curveballs, you can plug and play that into your system.
I think that's so good. Consistency is such a key, and it's difficult. Someone like me, consistency is not necessarily my strength, but I think we can all find our own pattern and our own ways of clearing our mind and staying relaxed and dealing with the uncomfortable.
Yes. Consistency, intentionality, and not letting failures stop us, seeing them as opportunities to move forward and tackle it. So yes, this has been an excellent discussion. Thank you, Kyle, for coming and for giving us all your wonderful insights. I think it's been a great show.
A very special guest.
Yes, our very special guest.
Thank you guys for having me.
That's a wrap.
Well, I hope that was a fun time and a blessing for you, just enjoying to see what the inner circle looks like for Patreon members. And in fact, if you're interested, as we are heading into the final few episodes coming up this next few weeks of our Season 1 of the Uncommon Success Podcast, we encourage you to connect up to our Patreon. It'll give you some great content to watch during the summer while we won't be having episodes, but it's also a great place that we can stay connected. So we'll have some extra little nuggets that we'll be dropping into our Patreon over the summertime to stay connected with you. So if you're not a Patreon member, I encourage you to go join the Patreon Inner Circle, or as Brindley likes to call it, the Cool Kids Club. You can do that for $7 a month at our Patreon, at patreon.com/The Uncommon Success Podcast. We do only have 2 more episodes remaining for this season, and so you don't want to miss out. We are already gearing up for Season 2. We're excited, already talking to some guests about joining us for Season 2, so it's going to be an awesome time together. We have a lot of guests who are interested in coming back for Season 2, so we may drop in a few extra guests, maybe to either come on as guests and talk about more content, or even coming back and co-hosting with us some. We're excited about Season 2. So we'll be wrapping up at the end of May with Season 1 and kicking back off in the fall with Season 2. If you have missed some of the previous episodes, I encourage you to go back and listen to those. We do value our community, and so be sure to connect with us on all of our platforms. You can watch or listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, or both. You can watch an episode and then go back and listen to it if you want to. You can also join us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. That'd be a great place for us to stay connected this summer as we have some time between the 2 seasons. It'd be a great time for us to stay connected. We'll hopefully drop some little extra videos and stuff to you just to keep connected on our social medias. We encourage you to like, share, subscribe, and review, and leave us comments. That helps us to engage with our audience, to know what's working and what's not, what's fun and what's not, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, the fun little quirks and habits and the lessons even learned along the way. All those things, we'd love to hear about all of it. So please leave those comments and share them to us. If you share this on your social media platforms, it's helpful because it helps get our content out to other people. So if you're enjoying it, we encourage you, hit that share button. That'd be very helpful for us. We are excited about our guests who are going to be helping us wrap up this season. We got some powerful stuff coming to you in the next couple of weeks. You do not want to miss out on those episodes. Today was a great time just to see the inner circle. Hope it was a blessing to you. Thanks for watching or listening, and we encourage you, go have a great week. Think about the positive things that are happening and go make a difference this week. Till next time, we'll see you. Thank you for joining us on the Uncommon Success Podcast, where your commitment to growth fuels our passion to create more content. Special thanks to our executive producer, Jess Camp, and our technical director, Stephen Posey. We're excited about our episode next week and hope you would tune in to join us as we work together to continue our journey towards success. See you next time. Have a great week.